today's video. I am so kind of excited and kind of disappointed to film this video for you guys because I wasn't ready to film this video. If you have been following me on Instagram, you know that I got the Whoop like 2 weeks ago, and I was like super excited to compare it with the new Versa and wear them at the same time and like do all this data research, and I literally created a Word document, like a PowerPoint. I was so into getting this video set up for you guys because I know how highly requested it had been, and I was just like super excited about it. And then I made the mistake of leaving the Whoop on the tub ledge, which is equal height to Bailey's face, and I should have known because she loves anything plastic. Long story short, she ate my Whoop. So the testing phase of this video was cut a bit short, but nonetheless, I still gathered enough information, I feel, so I think that I have enough to make this video for you guys. So with that being said, it is going to kind of be a long, extensive, data-filled video. So in the description box below, I will have everything timestamped for like the important parts of the video that I've talked about, as well as like some links to where I read about all the things that I'm going to talk about. Before I show you guys the packaging and the actual Whoop watch, I want to kind of give you a little bit of background about how it was founded and what it's used for and everything like that. So Whoop was actually founded by a guy named Will Ahmed. He was a former D1 collegiate athlete, and he had this idea that he wanted to study the whole recovery aspect of the human body and just the human body in general via a fitness tracker that had not been done before. He basically wanted to get a better understanding about overtraining and how sleep and recovery play a role in athletes and their like peaks for performance. And if you go on the Whoop website, there actually is like a little study that they did about track racing and how it comes down to like 1/1,000,000th of a second between the person who wins and the person who loses. And so he kind of wanted to see like what causes that 1/1,000,000th of a second difference in athletes. Is it recovery? Is it sleep? Is it training? And how to like utilize all of those together into basically a fitness watch that uses heart rate variability instead of just heart rate. Obviously, your Whoop, new in the packaging, is not going to have teeth marks all over it. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to show you anyway because I don't have anything else to show you guys, but this is what the actual tracker looked like before Bailey decided to have it as a snack. We're gonna go ahead and just start off with the basic information of the strap, what it does, and what you get for the price of it. So we'll start there. And the price of the Whoop is actually quite expensive. It is $500. As a side note, I had to cut my strap. Imagine that this piece is on it like this. And this goes through here like so, like a hair tie almost. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let me hold it up there. So it's kind of like a hair tie, and then you pull the extra, leftover cloth through it, and then whatever's, excess you fold under. Mine, because my wrists are so tiny, was so long that I had to actually cut it. So for this $500, you're getting this Neato time capsule that it comes in, the actual tracker, like I showed you guys, and then the charger. This is interesting because the charger actually slides right on top of the Whoop like this, so you can wear it on your wrist and never actually have to take it off. I don't know how many people would be interested in that, but it does create a little bit of variability because every other fitness watch you have to take off to charge it, and this one you can just charge on top of it and then you charge the charger. So that is what this little guy is for. You plug this into your wall, and then this piece goes into the charger. This is what the charger for the charger looks like. And then you just, once this is ready, take it off and you slide it onto the Whoop like so. You get that, the Athlete mobile app, which we will go into more detail with about all the different specs and what the Whoop tracks and things like that. But just so you get like an idea of what you're getting for the $500, it is literally just the watch. Well, I shouldn't even say watch, the strap, the tracker, the charger, and the time capsule. So cost effective. So the key difference and why this fitness tracker is so much more expensive than the other ones on the market is because so far this is the only fitness tracker that tracks and records your heart rate variability, not just your heart rate. If you don't know what heart rate variability means, it's basically the time in between each heartbeat, which is measured with like a certain scientific, function, what have you. So heart rate variability was initially studied to use as a predictor for like emergencies and, how your body reacts to medical emergencies or, adrenaline rushes, things of that nature. And so then it was turned over into more studies trying to link it to athletic performance. And so they're trying to correlate basically your heart rate variability to your peak athletic performance. So because of the two nervous systems in the body, we have the sympathetic nervous system, which is basically your fight or flight, and then you have the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest. So we somewhat have like an on and off switch that allows us to kind of flip back and forth between these two branches. And ideally, the faster that we can switch between, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, it allows our bodies to adapt to its surroundings better. And so that's kind of like what they're relating to sports. So you're able to like output a large amount of energy really, really quickly, but then bring your heart rate back down and level it so that you're not going from one extreme to another and it's causing a lot of distress on your body. So when you have a high heart rate variability or HRV, you're able to respond quickly to these situations and you're able to adapt to your surroundings, which is what they're saying that elite level athletes have a very high HRV compared to low HRV. It takes a while for your body to adapt to these surroundings. And in the case of like athletics or working out, your heart rate is up so high and it takes you a very, very long time to get your heart rate back down to normal rate. So if you guys remember a couple videos back in my In the Open series video, I sat down with my coach and we talked about energy expenditure and why it's important to pay attention to your recovery so you know how much energy you can basically give to that day's particular training session. And so this is kind of similar to that. And if you recall, Alex used a metaphor talking about having a bank of pennies. And when you start the day, you have this bank full of pennies and everything that you're doing throughout the day is taking out some pennies from this bank, basically depleting your energy level by the time you get to training. This whole entire metaphor is basically what the Whoop is geared towards. So the entire fitness tracker is geared towards measuring your total daily strain based on your activity, your heart rate variability, your temperature, and then correlating that into a score for daily strain, and then telling you what you need to do to recover in order to peak your training. And you do have the option to change that from like peaking to just performing. You can utilize what the Whoop has measured and turn it into, your own recovery style fitness tracker. Now, one of the reasons why this watch has become so popular over the recent months is because it's been used by the MLB, the NFL, the NBA, and it's kind of like showing that, these elite level athletes are wearing this thing, and it's obviously super important because it's worn by elite level athletes. They wanted to do a lot of studies on those elite level athletes to basically get a baseline for what someone's HRV looks like at that type of extreme, because obviously, a middle-aged mom with kids who goes to the gym 3 times a week, her HRV is going to be significantly different than somebody who is an NFL player that trains for hours and hours and then, to do that for their life. They needed some type of spectrum in order to figure out where everybody else who uses this fitness tracker would fall into the graph. So overall, how this tracker is designed to work is to take your individual factors, which you will fill out on the app when you set up your watch, talking about basically your basic statistics, your body statistics, but then also how much you train per week, how many hours you intend to sleep, things like that. You kind of fill it out so it's tailored to you. And then the initial 3 days that you have the app and the tracker, it takes all of your information and calculates your recovery needed based on what you've done for those 3 days. And then that's like your set point, and then you go from there. Putting up a screen cap over here, we're gonna go into the app. And now obviously I have nothing labeled here because my watch is donezo, thanks to Bailey. We're going to go over to the days that I was wearing it. Let's pick this Friday here. So as you can see, you're looking at the main, summary of this day, Friday, April 27th. The top left which is the strain, is what we're gonna talk about first. So the daily strain is calculated based on the other types of things, your HRV and all those other stuff that I just mentioned, and it calculates a score. So from 0 to 9.9 is what they call light strain, 10 to 13.9 is moderate, 14 to 17.9 is strenuous, and 18 to 21 is all out. And the day strain is basically a tool for understanding how your body responds to the different stressors that you're putting into this app and that the tracker is tracking for you. So basically, according to Whoop, if you're fit, you are performing the same strenuous training load, but then over time, it's causing less strain on your body because it's requiring less exertion to perform the same type of strain. As you see at the bottom, it says solid work. This kind of day is great when you want to work out several days in a row. So if I just go to the previous day, 13.8, 12.1, I think, yeah. I'm just looking through a couple of different days here that I had logged. Then when you swipe to the left, you'll see your recovery, which they've put into like a little circle, and this is where your heart rate variability comes into play. So based off of your daily strain and your heart rate variability, it then calculates the recovery needed in order to recover from that day and the recovery from the previous day that you've already achieved. So if you are in the red zone, and I didn't have any in the red zone, but if you are in the red zone, that's what they consider to be poor recovery. If you're in the yellow zone, you can train properly, but you're not in the zone for peaking, so it's kind of like moderate recovery. And then if you're in the green zone, it's likely that your body will be able to peak during training. That's kind of how it calculates that, and then based on that, you swipe again to the left and you'll see your sleep performance. So it tells you your hours of sleep needed and then how much you got. If you swipe up there, you can see basically the weekly average, hours versus need, time in bed, and it gives you a bunch of different graphs and things like that. So the cool thing about Whoop obviously is that it takes all of this data and compiles it and tells you what you need to do with it, which is kind of different from other fitness trackers, whereas you'll see the information such as Fitbit and you ultimately have to decide what you want to do with it. So it basically measures your resting heart rate, your sleep, your heart rate variability, all in combination to determine this recovery score, which tells you then how much time you need to sleep in order to recover from that prior day's training session. It will basically suggest that you need to take a 45-minute nap or an hour nap in order to move your recovery into the yellow or green zone if you are in the red zone. And then the other cool thing is if you didn't sleep enough the night before, it's calculating your sleep need for the upcoming night, and it will show you like the little calculation that it uses, like daily strain minus sleep debt plus naps taken equals how much sleep that you need. So again, lots of data, lots of formulas there, but it is in effort to get you to pay attention to your sleep mostly. With that being said, the Whoop in totality calculates your heart rate variability, ambient temperature, motion and movement, and skin response in order to generate this daily strain, which then adds to your recovery needs in order for you to peak performance. So if you are somebody that loves to know about how you're sleeping, what your heart rate variability is, how you're performing, how you feel, and that is strictly the only thing that you care about, the Whoop might be something for you. It is not a smartwatch. It doesn't even have a damn face on it. It is literally a $500 hair tie that tells you all of this stuff. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Physically, I will say, and this might be because I'm partial to Fitbit, however, it was really uncomfortable on my watch because of that cloth. Where did I put it? And I'm not sure if it's like these little grippy beads that it has underneath it, but I found that I was like itching at it quite frequently. And then when it got wet, I was like so irritated I had to take it off and like blow dry it. And then it kind of reminds me of like smelly knee sleeves, because when you sweat in it, because it's cloth, it starts to smell, right? So you have to like wash it. I don't know. I just feel like for $500, it could have been, a little bit more 2018 perhaps. They have all these watches for way less that supposedly do a lot of different things. You've paid $500 for a strap that tells you what your heart rate variability is. Well, okay, are you gonna go to sleep any earlier? Are you going to do these things to promote more recovery? if you're not, then ultimately what's the purpose of buying it? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't seem like something that's a practical thing for most fitness people, because for most fitness people, there's daily life things that are happening, especially if you have kids. You're not gonna sleep, you know, a solid 8-9 hours with no interruption. I feel that a lot of people should know this, that if you're training at that type of level to where you are caring about your heart rate variability, then you're probably not in the position to be having kids and being up all night, because those two things conflict with each other. It's kind of like, I think the Whoop is truly, truly geared for athletes of that nature who maybe, you know, have a coach who looks at those data scores and knows what to do with them. But for most people, I think personally that the Fitbit or, you know, Garmin, whatever it is that you like, would be more realistic, because you're not only, you know, using it as a smartwatch, but you're also getting those things, that data, I guess, in a similar way that the Whoop is. The only thing it doesn't provide you with is the heart rate variability. But again, what are you doing with that information? Is your life goal to increase your heart rate variability? If you are well recovered for the most part, and you have really good sleeping habits, you have good eating habits, you have good recovery habits, you're doing the best you can, and I don't think it's necessary to spend $500 on a heart rate variability tracker. And with that being said, I do think the app is really cool. I think it's really detailed. They obviously put a ton of trial and error and studies and tons of research into this app, do not get me wrong, but I just feel that it's a little bit much. And for the most part, if you're sleeping 8 to 9, maybe 10 hours a night, and you're training properly and recovering properly, you're pretty much good to go. You're not in the NBA. I mean, if you are, then good for you. I don't think you're watching my videos, but you know what I'm saying. As you can tell, I'm back with my Versa. I love this thing. If you didn't see my Versa review, go check it out. I will be doing a part 2 to this video to compare the Whoop with the Fitbit. I just felt like there was so much information that I wanted to get out in the Whoop video on its own that I didn't want to start like adding in more stuff with Fitbit, because there are a lot of similarities with these watches as well, but there's also some differences. So I think it would be cool to do like a side-by-side comparison of the inside of the apps, the watches, or the tracker and the watch, whatever, and just kind of give you guys like a side-by-side comparison. So I think that would be really cool, unless you don't care. But if you do want to see that, definitely give this video a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know if that would be something you'd be interested in. But I think that is pretty much all I have for you on the Whoop app. Hopefully this helped you in some way, and maybe you learned something about the heart rate variability, or maybe you just learned you need to go to bed earlier. I don't know. Thank you guys so much, as always, for watching my videos. I really appreciate all of your comments and your support and everything. I love creating this stuff for you and testing these things out, because I like watching them as well. So anyways, I'm signing out. I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.